Hello, hello! Welcome back to Marshmellow Reads. I'm Marcy, and today, I'm filming one of my favorite videos of the year. This is the Pride Month Spectacular Queer Reading Recommendations for 2023. Let's jump in. This is a collection of all the queer reads I have read in the past year, since last June of 2022. If you're interested in more reading recommendations, check out that video. But yeah, I have sectioned them off into three general categories. First, we've got cozy, then we got horny, and then we got what the fuck. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. I'm not going to stop playing with this, so sorry if it bugs you. First off, we have the cozy category, and we're starting off with Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune. But old and new rivals stand in the way of success. Not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea what coffee actually is. So the orc gets to educate everyone on the coffee, the mocha, the espresso, all of that fun stuff. And also there's a pastry chef who is tiny and adorable and makes incredible baked goods. It's the best. This book was so freaking cute and cozy. I loved it very much. This is easily some of the best comfort reading I have done in a long while. And while it is not like necessarily a romance novel, there is a pretty big romance element between the orc and her new employee, this succubus. It's real cute. I liked it. And like there's, conflict because of capitalism. But overall it was great. It was super chill. A nice light read. Next up we have another adorable read. This is the Tea Dragon series. I believe right now there are 3 volumes out. This is by Kay O'Neill, and they have just done a phenomenal job creating this world. Like, the illustrations are just so detailed and beautiful and colorful, and the cohesive color palette. Anyway, book number 1 is a charming all-ages book that follows the story of Greta, a blacksmith apprentice, and the people she meets as she becomes entwined in the enchanting world of tea dragons. I absolutely loved the care and attention to detail shown when Greta is learning all about the dying art form of tea dragon caretaking from the kind and very gay tea shop owners Ezekiel and Eric. Oh, they're so cute. I love them. I would gladly read hundreds of volumes in this series. So yeah, check this one out. Next up, we have a release from last summer. This is A Prayer for the Crowned Shy by Becky Chambers. This is the second in the Monk and Robot duology. They're both pretty short novellas, so you can just knock them out in a weekend if you really wanted to, and I suggest you do that because it's super cozy and cute. After touring the rural areas of Panga, Sibling Dex, a non-binary tea monk of some renown, and Mosscap, a robot sent on a quest to determine what is it that humans actually want, they turn their attention to the villages and cities of the Little Moon that they call home. And it's so cute. You get more of relationship dynamics and development between the monk and Mosscap, the robot. It's really cute. For some reason, this game reminds me of that Sojourner's card game. I don't know if anyone is going to know what I'm talking about. This was a game I found sometime during early pandemic thanks to Waypoint Radio, now Remap Radio. That was an exciting discovery from a couple weeks ago. My beloved podcasters are gonna continue life in fucking capitalism, going home and talking about video games and other fun stuff. So let me just plug that real quick for you. Anyway, back to this this book that is like the game. Anyway, it has similar characters and setting vibes, and it's just like a warm cup of tea. I really enjoyed getting to learn more about this world, and at least this specific city or area, they have a reimagined money system with more focus on public works. So if you do labor for your community, then you will be rewarded with the fruits of others' labors. And with a notable difference, an improvement, I would say, there is no debt. None at all. It's beautiful. Quote, Nobody should be barred necessities or comforts just because they don't have the right number next to their name. Amen. This is an excellent example of a cozy utopia. I would very much like more of these right now. I'm kind of done. I say that. I would rather not read more dystopian stuff. I would like more utopian. You know, I would like some hope, please. Last in the cozy category shifts more into the serious realm. So it is, you know, still comforting because it's talking about horror and camp and stuff. But anyway, this is It Came From the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror, edited by Joe Valisi. Wow, I love this collection. I am a huge fan of horror. I have been since I was a little kid, and only recently have I started connecting it to the, I don't know, queer history and art, and kind of examining how I connect to it and getting to see how others connect to it. And I thought it was really cool. From Goodreads, through the lens of horror, from Halloween to Hereditary, queer and trans writers consider the films that deepened, amplified, and illuminated their own experiences. This is a very personal collection of mini memoirs that is the perfect nonfiction read for horror fans this Pride Month. My favorite chapter is from Carmen Maria Machado, author of In the Dream House, another memoir. It's excellent. It covers abuse within the queer community through her own personal story. Yeah. Anyway, this chapter is titled Both Ways on Jennifer's Body. Yay! Bisexuality! I love this chapter. I love Jennifer's Body. I love bisexuality. It was great. I loved it. I also really enjoyed The Girl, the Well, and the Ring by Zephyr Lazowski on The Ring and Pet Sematary. This is connecting body horror to medical transition and disability. There's a lot to talk about there, you know. That one really stuck with me. And I also really liked Three Men on a Boat by Jen Corrigan. This is another one that focuses on bisexuality, and it touches on the bicycle, the weird way that most people label you as straight until proven gay, or sometimes vice versa. It's really weird, and it also touches on the weirdness of straight passing. I might have said the last one was the last one, but this is actually the last one for the cozy category. This is The Vanished Birds by Simone Jimenez. This is an Own Voices story, and the queerness is just embedded in the text. It's not, you know, necessarily like the focus, but it's a very queer story. Fumiko Nakijima is a major character who is probably a lesbian, or at least sapphically inclined. And she is a brilliant scientist and inventor who is driven by her one great past love to a woman. A love that she had to give up for her work on faster than light space travel, something like that. Fancy space stuff. Sartoris is another character in the space crew that we follow, and he is a significant secondary character who states that he has never had feelings of sexual attraction towards any gender. So we got some asexual rep here. Woo! And there's also some non-binary folks thrown in there throughout as well. This book is ostensibly about space traveling through wormholes and the resulting time distortions and like years of your life lost to space travel. There's the boy who fell from the sky, and then the space crew that Fumiko Nakijima hires to raise the boy at the edges of space civilization for the next 15 years, waiting for something to happen with him. It's a lot. It was confusing, but it was very good. So check this one out. On to the horny category. Note, these are all going to be sci-fi or fantasy novels. Hopefully this coming year I will read enough sapphic romance and smut to have a whole actually horny category for them. But for now, this is the horniest we're gonna get. Okay. First, we've got Furious Heaven by Kate Elliott. This is the sequel of, I forget what the series is called, but the first one was Unconquerable Sun. Like I said, this is the second entry in Kate Elliott's gender-swapped Alexander the Great series. It is an action-packed space opera, and we've got two main perspectives in this massive space war. First, we have the victorious sun and her empire versus the scheming fiend, a people whose elite are highly genetically modified human descendants with 4 arms. And the fiend also have like a subclass, I guess, of people who are called riders, a group of fiend who are born with two faces and two consciousnesses in one body. They have the ability to hive mind with all of the other riders, and it makes them top tier war assets during this, very far spaced space war. I love Princess Sun and her crew of companions. They are all sorts of flavors of queer. It is delicious. It is fruity. I love it. Similar to the first book, Unconquerable Sun, this book has flirty rivals, a secret sapphic romance, found family, revenge, espionage, space battles, and more, and more. Like, it's so good. It's just chock full of goodness. I cannot wait for the third book, although Goodreads does say it's expected to release in 2025. So I've got some time. I will probably reread these at some point because there's, so many things. Next up, we have She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is Mulan meets The Song of Achilles, an accomplished poetic debut of war and destiny sweeping across an epic alternate China. So we've got a useless, unwanted daughter that takes her dead brother's name, and hopefully his good fate too, and she hopes to make something of herself. And she ends up growing up in a monastery, but then joins the army after the monastery gets burned down, and she just keeps girl bossing all the way to the top, and ends up with a dope wife halfway through. It's pretty great. This is for fans of ancient Chinese war campaigns and politicking. Oh, and there's a fisting scene. And next we have Locklands, or the third entry in the Founders trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett. Do you want a sapphic romance with a happy ending? Da, 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 da. Here you go. This is the absolutely book-wild final book in the Founders trilogy. This series takes place in like a fantasy Italy, whose magic is based on scribing, words or spells engraved into objects to bend reality. For example, you can convince a wooden door that it's actually incredibly hard stone to make it basically indestructible. Pretty neat. If you like heists, coding is magic, fantasy scientists / engineers fighting otherworldly horrors, then check this one out. Here we have Nona the Ninth, the third book in the Locked Tomb series by Tamsin Muir. Yes, you have probably heard of this series as being known for lesbian necromancers in space. But did you know it also has a really confusing plot? I needed to reread Nona the Ninth and Hera the Ninth, the second and third books in this series, twice with explainer videos to fully figure out what the heck was going on in those books. But I am a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, so that's my shit. And if that is your shit, then read this. Also, apparently you should read this if you're a fan of Homestuck. There are a bunch of references to Homestuck, including Gideon's sunglasses. I don't know, I've never read Homestuck, so I think it's hilarious that there's also some dude named John learning how to become a necromancer and then naming himself God. There's cute dogs with 6 legs, campy characters being gay and sassy, the best couple, Cam and Pal. Oh, I love this book, and you should read the first and second book so you can read this one and be like, oh my god, what? Yeah. Here we have another sequel to a series. This is The Oleander Sword by Tasha Siri. This is number 2 in the Burning Kingdoms. Coming off the Jasmine Throne, Priya and Malini are separated. My heart. Priya is now a thrice-born priestess, still learning how to manage her newly enhanced powers. She's also an elder of the Ahiranya, and she dreams of a future where her country is rid of the rot that plagues it, both the oppressor's poisonous rule and the blooming sickness that is slowly spreading through all living things. And on the other side, we have the prophecy of the nameless god that named Malini the rightful empress of Parijatvipa, which has proven to be both a blessing and a curse, but she is determined to claim the throne from her tyrannical brother, and even with the strength of the rage built up in her heart and the army of loyal men that she has amassed, deposing her brother is still going to be a brutal and bloody fight. Oh, yes. Give me those letters filled with sapphic longing. Ah! Oh, Oh, my poor lovesick girls. All they want to do is touch each other's skin and write poetry about their faces, but they can't because of war and patriarchy. It's bullshit, but oh my god, and that ending. Then hate me, but live. It's just so dramatic and messy. I love it. I love it so much. I am ready for that third book. Next we have We Set the Dark on Fire and We Unleash the Merciless Storm, a duology by Taylor K. Mejia. My feelings about this duology can basically be distilled into this Goodreads review by... What would you do if we kissed under the roof of the rich guy we're both married to? And we're both girls? Yeah, this was fun. On this dystopian island, there is a school for girls where they learn to become the perfect wives for the elite class's sons. What a twist. Each shitty son gets not one, but two servant wives. La Primera is in charge of running the household and is basically just like a sexless secretary. And La Segunda is responsible for birthing these stupid men's sons. Ideally sons, but children, you know. So, she must be hot and sexy, but also motherly. And you may be asking, why the hell would any reasonable girl sign up for this life? Well, because in this system, there is only one way to lift oneself out of poverty. So, suck it up, buttercup, and get to groveling. But in this story, we get to see a Primera and a Segunda become close friends over how terrible their useless husband is. And eventually, they grow even closer as lovers and as revolutionaries. It's fun stuff, I know. It's not perfect, but I loved it for having Latina main characters and a sapphic romance. Call me biased, so what? I don't think I could sing this series' praises enough. This is Revenant Gun by Yoon Ha Lee. This is number 3 and the final book in the Machineries of Empire series. Oh, I need to get my hands on the Nine Fox Gambit tabletop RPG. It looks incredible. But first I have to finish this blasted dissertation. Anyway, my boy Yoon Ha Lee absolutely killed it in this finale. Now, I can officially say that the Machineries of Empire is easily one of the best and most exciting sci-fi trilogies of the decade. Maybe of the past 20 years? I don't know. This is pretty good. I'm not even going to try to explain the plot, but in general, we've got mathematical troop formations that generate crazy powerful magical attacks. But only if enough of the surrounding populations adhere strongly enough to the High Calendar, a strict set of beliefs and rituals. This book is about the end of an empire, about who deserves to survive versus who gets to survive. It's about deep laid plans from scheming immortals finally coming to a climax, and we also get to see the devastating collateral that doesn't even faze these power perverts who are just so completely divorced from normal human life. And I don't know, you know, it has some social commentary there. Yeah, I hope you like it, and I hope it gets you thinking. On to the what the fuck category. Be warned, this is pretty messed up stuff, so I don't know, look up trigger warnings ahead of time. First, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is my last love letter to you, though some would call it a confession. Saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanta is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. This is an enthralling tale of a nightmare polycule, in which Dracula is an abusive and selfish lover, because, yeah, he would be. Let me just read you this quote, okay? You kissed me punishingly until my lips were bruised, until there was scarcely any air left in my lungs. The force of your love nearly drove me to my knees. I was no woman. I was merely a supplicant, a pilgrim who had stumbled across your dark altar and was doomed to worship at it forever. I don't know, if you want to read more stuff like that, check this one out. This is one I've been wanting to recommend since I read it. I don't think I've brought it up much. This is Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. It is Why the Last Man Meets the Girl with All the Gifts, an explosive post-apocalyptic novel that follows trans women and men on a grotesque journey of survival. This book is trans rage incarnate. It is incredible. Like, hot damn, what a piercing work of art we have here. Like, it is seriously bleak and heavy, so defo give yourself some time to get through it. Don't try to rush it. Beth and Fran are two trans women who spend their days traveling the ravaged New England coast, hunting feral men and harvesting their organs in a gruesome effort to ensure that they never face the same fate. But they also have to deal with murderous TERFs and a psychopathic billionaire bunker brat and awkward relationship dynamics, all while outrunning packs of feral men and their own demons. For the love of God and all that is holy, please go read this incredible work of queer horror. It is gripping from page 1. Damn. And lastly, we have Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. A black father, a white father, 2 murdered sons, a quest for vengeance. 2 gay men are brutally murdered and they leave behind their 3-year-old daughter. The funeral brings together their 2 fathers, who were some pretty garbage homophobic dads. They massively fucked up their relationships with their sons, but now they have a chance to avenge them and hopefully do better with their granddaughter. Shit gets real fast and it gets quite gory, so heads up before you start this one. And that brings us to the end of this recommendation video. Hopefully you found at least one new book to add to your TBR. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I hope we get to actually go to the OKC Zoo for their Sip and Stroll Pride Night. The weather was being real homophobic last week. They had to reschedule the event for this week because of tornadoes in June, mind you. Tornado season should be over by now. Hello, climate change, please stop. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you all are enjoying Pride Month and doing fun stuff with your communities. And if you have the chance, if you have the financial stability, I ask you to consider donating to a local or a national trans rights group, especially this month. Like, right now is when our trans brothers, sisters, and siblings need our support. We need to be vocally active, vocally supportive, and financially supportive if we can help it. So I am a big fan of Trans Lifeline, but of course there are many other organizations out there. But especially right now, consider donating. I think that'd be really cool and really nice of you. But besides that, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one.